Hey, let's talk about you, the ID10T community events at ID10T.com, like Russ Stevens, a.k.a.
Catbus Russ,
who has started a podcast called 90 for Chill, which Russ says is dedicated to movies with a runtime between 74 and 99 minutes, the time frame that I feel is ideal. Russ, I could not agree with you more. That is a fantastic idea. Russ goes on to say there are times you need a cinematic fix but don't have time for the latest Scorsese masterpiece or offering from a comic book universe. There's also times when you need a conclusion to prevent a binge costing you a whole night. My guest and I try to follow these guidelines as we chat up features that are definitely worth your time and are beyond easy to make time for. 90 for Chill, the podcast, can be found on all major podcast platforms at 90forchill.com, and that's spelling out 90, Ninety for FOR chill. So there you go. Thank you so much for sharing, Russ. Really great idea for a podcast. Events at ID10T.com for everyone else.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm Bo Maddox.
And this is Collateral Cinema with Collateral Gaming. Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We are podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas. And yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, smoke it if you've got it. And welcome to our Collateral Cinema, Collateral Gaming collab review, the first one of the year. And another At the Movies episode, also our first of the year, minus the year in review. And we are talking about the highly anticipated and unfortunately disappointing return to Silen Hill.
Disappointing is a little bit of an understatement here. I guess initially watching this, I could kind of get into it and everything. It does seem to, capture the atmosphere of the game. It captures, a lot of the more infamous scenes in this game originally and everything, but
yeah,
and even taking a little bit from the recent remake somewhat.
Sure, there's a lot of visual callbacks to both the original and the game, and so herein lies my problem with this. My problem with this movie, okay? And let me give you a little bit of background, right? We've done a review on the original Silent Hill movie in 2006 from the same director, Christophe Gans. And in that review, we mentioned that we really liked that movie. In fact, it's one of my favorite video game adaptations ever. And I think I like it so much because even though it does change so much from the original game, it's not pulling solely from one game. Mostly Silent Hill 1, but it pulls in stuff from a lot of games. And it's different enough from its source material that I can just kind of respect it as its own thing. But no, this movie posits itself as a faithful adaptation of Silent Hill 2. It tries so hard to do that, at least visually, at least as far as the score and everything goes. But here's the problem. If you understand Silent Hill 2 on a surface level, you might think this is a faithful adaptation, but the things that it changes, and this is a spoiler-free review, so we can't fully get into it, but the things that it changes, it just shows me that Christophe Gans either fundamentally misunderstood Silent Hill 2, the game, or he wanted to do his own thing and didn't care.
Oh man, I could tell you right now, I kind of wish that we could get into some spoilers, because my God, the things that it changes is kind of enraging if you're really intimately familiar with Silent Hill 2. Even from just kind of a distance,
Yeah.
It's hard to really describe without spoiling, but it's significant enough that it'll just kind of break the entire story altogether.
It really does. And like from a surface level, it's like, okay, maybe if you had just seen YouTube videos of someone playing the original game or the remake, you might be like, okay, yeah, it's the same story. But no, because of the things that are changed, it shows just a fundamental misunderstanding of the core themes and emotional complexity of Silent Hill 2 and what makes that such a wonderful story. And I'm just going to go ahead and say, if you want a cinematic interpretation of that that's good with excellent performances, better than this movie, honestly. And this movie doesn't have terrible performances, but the video game was better in 2024. And an actual faithful cinematic interpretation of that, go play the remake or watch a video, watch a Let's Play of the remake of Silent Hill 2. I honestly recommend that because this is such a good story and it deserves the wider audience that a theatrical one could provide. But this is just, it's such a letdown as an interpretation. We can get into it kind of in a sense. There's some things we can mention, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this because this was promotional material. This is stuff I knew going into the film myself before I watched it. But the character Angela is portrayed by the same actress that plays Mary and Maria. And coming into this movie, I was worried where they were going to go with that. And I'm just going to go ahead and say the film does not resolve that in any satisfactory way. And no matter how you look at it, either Angela's character is going to be diminished or Mary's is going to be fundamentally changed.
It's kind of both at the same time to really get into it without getting too deep into spoilers. And once again, it's one of those aforementioned enraging changes where it's just like, if you understand what, like, especially Angela's character is supposed to be in the original Silent Hill 2 and in the remake and whatnot, it's like, it's going to just be like, what the fuck? I mean, it was the moment that actually lost me in this movie.
Same. There's a specific moment that is not subtle at all. That is just straight out, like spoon feeds you this information, and that was where the film lost me as well. I mean, I think up to that point I was kind of okay with it. I even accepted some of the changes they made. Okay, sure, let's show some of the backstory with James and Mary. I mean, if you don't have that, you're going to be missing a lot from the runtime of the film. Fine. Okay, you're going to add this whole other storyline that wasn't in the game. I don't see why it needs it, but whatever. But, you do that. You take out important parts of the game that are some of the scariest parts of it and fill it with all this extra bullshit. And then you make a change like that. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. A change like that was where I was like, okay, nah, this is terrible as an adaptation. As a standalone film, as a horror film, maybe it's passable. I think mileage will vary.
Yeah, but I mean, especially if you really know the ending of Silent Hill, the game, like especially the canon ending. I mean, it'll really just make you go, huh? It's like, well, wait a second, though. It's like, I mean, why even have all of this come together this way?
Well, and this film, it decides to adapt one of the endings of Silent Hill 2. There is one ending that I feel is more canon than the others, but there is no canon ending of Silent Hill 2. And this film has to adapt one of those, or it can do its own original ending. I'm going to say they sort of do their interpretation of one of the original endings. But then they do something else that is I think it was a tie-in. The way that this film ends, I think, was a tie-in with a popular fan theory, especially around Silent Hill 2 remake. We talked about it in our review, but there's a popular theory about James and his experience through Silent Hill 2 that the remake even kind of throws even some more hints at. And I like that they led to that, I guess. But in doing so, the way that they did, they completely undermined the ending that they were doing.
Yeah.
They completely undercut that ending by just, you should have just committed to it if you were going to do that.
Yeah, that's a pretty big problem with this movie is that when it does try to go for those changes, instead of really, really going all in and going bonkers with them, I mean, it just drops the ball. like each and every time, and that's very infuriating to, like, especially when you're getting closer to the ending of the movie.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh, come on, man.
Exactly, exactly. And there's one other major change that I don't think I can get into, but it just completely changes James's journey and also kind of really the whole point of the entire game. And that was just a slap in the balls. At the end there, that was just like, okay, fine. You've just completely undercut, like James's story too, in addition to the supporting characters that have been cut. One supporting character shows up in the movie once at where he's supposed to be and then just completely disappears and fucks off and is never touched on again. So just about every character gets undercut here. Mary gets a whole bunch of shit added to her and some things that are altered, I think, to work in with others' backstories. I think that's what that was implying. I'm not sure. But that you can insert things in there like that, but it undercuts her as a character too, and what she stood for, and essentially what makes the core themes of the fucking game.
And then there's Maria, who I really think is just completely underutilized as a character in this movie entirely. I mean, especially if you know how her arc played out in the original game. And what was repeatedly happening to her up until the end of her character arc and everything. It was frustrating, and it kind of made her a little more of a nothing burger character in this movie.
I agree. I agree.
It just completely undermined her purpose.
Right. And I think that, you can make the excuse and you can defend this and say, well, they're trying to do a game. Of course, they're gonna have to cut some stuff out, but no, they don't. Silent Hill 2, especially the original game, it's not a long game. It's just a few hours long. That is, you cut out all the walking and shit. If you were just to take the cutscenes, I mean, it wouldn't even be enough to fill the film. So I understand there's going to be some padding. Okay, sure. Show us the backstory between James and Mary. Okay, I'm okay with that, but then you're going to add this whole other plot line into that just completely changes the characters fundamentally, and then you're going to take away from other things that are supposed to fill the runtime of the movie, like Maria, like Angela, like Eddie.
Exactly, but also it completely skips over certain parts of Silent Hill as a town that's really integral to helping James actually grow as a character. You know, like for instance, I believe like the prison is just completely done away with, right? They don't even go into the prison level.
Yeah, there's no prison.
There's no prison.
We'll
here.
go ahead and spoil that. There's no prison.
That'll be the only. Yeah, but I mean, and the way that the other iconic locations in Silent Hill is utilized here, they're just not utilized well at all.
Yeah, and there are so many visual callbacks. They do so much to recreate certain scenes of the movie. Like Abstract Daddy and like the and then the knife scene in the mirror. And I can use that scene as a perfect example of what this film misunderstands, because it's a perfect encapsulation. When you get into the scene, it looks like it's a shot for shot remake of the same scene, and it sort of, as you're getting into the scene and settling into it, it seems like it's going to be a recreation of that scene. And then they make a change in it that just completely changes the context of the scene and what it achieves. And then it's just gone. And that's my experience with the movie.
It just really feels like Gans was trying to have his cake and eat it too here. He wanted to really, make a shot-for-shot remake of the movie, of the game, I should say, and make it in movie form and everything. But he also wanted to change enough that I guess he wanted to have his own mark on the series and on the story itself. But I mean, it just doesn't feel like he's capable of actually, bringing that to fruition, to actually, staying true to the original story of the game and everything, but adding enough into it that's new enough to actually work. I mean, in his first movie, you had completely different characters. I mean, it actually worked what he was trying to do in that one, to that degree. But I mean, here, it's just like, it's obvious that, he just absolutely could not make it work. He couldn't make it gel together.
Yeah, and I've heard stories that Gans actually heavily prefers Silent Hill 2 or something. He like really loves that game, and that's why that there are aspects of that in the first film, like Pyramid Head. But the problem with that is that if that's the case, then why doesn't he seem to understand Silent Hill 2, or why doesn't he care enough about the story to convey what it was trying to convey? Because, it's like you said, and like I said earlier, Bo, I mean, I can respect Silent Hill 1 as an adaptation. In fact, I even like it. I love it because it does its own thing, and it changes so much that I'm like, okay, this is not a 1-for-1 remake of Silent Hill 1. This is kind of Silent Hill 1, but with some other things thrown in there to kind of cover the lore of the series and some major changes that make it feel like its own story. And I'm okay with that. But Return to Silent Hill just tries so hard to sell that it's Silent Hill 2, even doing some of those shot-for-shot scenes, and then just drops the ball by altering things for no fucking reason.
Now, here's the thing, though. If that's something that he really wanted to do, I kind of feel like instead of adapting Silent Hill 2, he should have just skipped all the way to Silent Hill 4 and done Silent Hill The Room. Because that's a story that you could kind of, still remain true to it, but still expand upon a little bit,
Yeah.
If he wanted to actually add his own little story flourishes and make them work, it would have worked better within that context, especially since, Silent Hill 4, it's all in one centralized location.
Yeah.
It's so. I mean, it probably would have worked a little better if he would have had full reign over that story and actually adapted that, because he could have been a little more loosey-goosey with it. This right here, this is just such an iconic story that, I mean, you can't really get away with, these types of little flourishes or nuances that he's trying to add to it.
Yeah, that's also what I was going to say, is not only does it try so hard to sell it itself as a faithful adaptation, but Silent Hill 2 is one of those stories, I think, that just deserves a straight up faithful adaptation. It's a story that you change significant aspects of it, and the story is fundamentally different because it's so psychological, more so than some other entries, and because it's the vagueness of it and the ambiguity really serve that narrative. Silent Hill 2 is one of those games that you can't change a whole lot and get away with it, so that's a problem.
Whereas going back to Silent Hill 4, that was in the series where they really tried to experiment and just do something a little different with the whole the whole premise of Silent Hill, from a psychological perspective. So it's like that would have actually served Christopher Gans a little better if he would have adapted that instead.
Sure, 100%. But Silent Hill 2 is just one of those stories that, there's just so many things that are important. And again, we got the remake. We've already got 2 fantastic interpretations of the story. So, I'm not so disappointed that a third one of this is so as bad as it is, except for the fact that, now there's a whole audience now that this is going to be their only exposure to the story of Silent Hill 2. And even if they do try to redo it later, they're, are they even going to go watch that? I don't know. And I'm curious to see how people who don't know Silent Hill 2, like what they think about this movie, but sitting at what, like a 9% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, I don't know.
James, so much time has passed, but I'm asking to please come back to our special place. Something's happened. Love, Mary.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Everyone got sick in Silent Hill.
Something's happened here. Something really, really bad.
Doing. It won't be enough to save her.
You did it, didn't you, Jimmy? You woke him up.
No one said it would be easy.
I'm here. I'll always be here.
Now, you see, that's something that when we were talking before we started here that I kind of posited happened with the most recent Resident Evil adaptations. You know, that movie in 2022 or something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
It was in 22. And then the series, it's like the expectations were pretty high for that movie, you know, because it looked like it was really going to try to be more of a straight up adaptation.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that changed, that misunderstood its source material, and that changed enough that, you know, it's like it kind of let those expectations down, so that when you got to that live action Resident Evil series that Netflix tried to do, it just completely dropped the ball there. I mean, the bar was lowered, and people were just like, I mean, as long as it's not as bad as the original Resident Evil movies, which I don't really think are that bad, honestly.
They're not bad. I mean, at least not the first one.
But I mean, I'm just talking about between these two franchises, you know, these two versions of it. But you know, it's kind of something that I could see happening with Silent Hill. Like if they want to make like a TV adaptation of like Silent Hill 3. It's like this is going to color that.
Silent Hill Revelations is kind of Silent Hill 3 already. So
yeah, you're right.
If they're going to do another movie, I don't think they will. I think this is told them, yeah, probably don't do that.
Yeah.
But if they do a film or TV series, you know, it should either be an original story or another game like Silent Hill 4. I mean, that's really where they can go from here. But I looked at this up. It's sitting at an 18% critic score, 30% audience score.
Okay. I mean, meh, you know.
So, you know, it's like even general audiences, a lot of which have probably not played the game, you know, and maybe some of those have like a passing knowledge of you know, the lore of the game, because so much of the plot details have been spoiled and talked about for the last 20 years. But
yeah.
But even so, it's like, and I've seen a few people online defend this, but it's like, for somebody that deeply and does know the lore, has played the game and or the remake, and is intimately familiar with the story of strictly from what the game tells you, not fan theories, you know, and whatnot. Like I feel like. And you love that game. Like, I just don't see how you can enjoy this movie, because it just changes things, you know? And I mean, yeah, maybe there were some fan theories that went in the direction of what Christophe Gans tried to spoon feed us in this movie as lore reveals. I mean, there were probably some popular fan theories that were pretty similar, but it's just not subtle at all. So it's like, even like the reveal of those things is just... like, why?
It just rings hollow. Yeah. You know, I mean, it doesn't seem sincere.
Yeah. But I mean, as far as good things go, okay, cinematography is good. I like it. I mean, I know Gans is, you know, he doesn't have any issues with that.
Yeah.
I mean, the lighting's kind of weird. I will say the lighting does make the movie feel a little bit more artificial.
But you have to remember, the lighting in the original Silent Hill games was usually typically either, you know, just gray, foggy light out in the fog world, or it's like just a flashlight in the other worlds. So it's like, I mean, lighting was both kind of integral, but not so integral to Silent Hill in many ways.
Yeah.
To its atmosphere.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I liked the first film's take on that a little bit more.
Yeah, it felt a little less fake. You know, it felt more organic in the original Silent Hill movie.
And I feel like it should feel organic. It should immerse you and make you feel like you're in this town. But I mean, other than that, I mean, visually the film looks good. It does a lot of like shot for shot scenes that are like, okay, that's cool. I'm glad they did that. The music is good. Obviously, Akira Yamaoka returns to compose, and you can't do Silent Hill 2 without him.
Yeah, I mean, that was not going to be a concern at all. We knew that he had that covered, you know. I mean, he was going to make this soundtrack sound as close to the original as possible.
Yeah. And the performances are fine. I don't have any issues with them. I do feel like the video game performances in the 2024 video game were better.
Yeah.
I mean, those are just absolutely stellar. And then this one just kind of feel inferior as a result. But on their own, they're okay. They're fine. They do the job. And as far as the story goes, not considering it as an adaptation of the game, And it's hard to detach myself and look at it from that perspective, but I think it's okay. I think the film is scary enough. Like I said, I think this could be a passable horror film for some people.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it's not necessarily gory, but it is very creepy in its presentation. And but I mean, it does feel like it's just kind of speed running through a lot of the finer aspects of the game, and everything in order to adapt it properly. But it just kind of speed runs a lot of stuff where I'm just like,
And the visual effects, I've heard a lot of people say that they felt that the CGI was bad, but I thought it was okay. I don't really, maybe I just don't have an eye for that.
There's some elements where it was bad. I think that maybe the fact that this movie was really, really dark kind of covered up some of the flaws in the CGI, but the few times where it felt like there was like direct light on some of the CGI models, it did kind of look kind of shitty.
I don't know.
A little bit.
I just feel like maybe with a Silent Hill series, maybe, or a movie or series, you should maybe just do practical effects.
No, absolutely. There's no reason not to at this point.
Because like so much of what makes Silent Hill feel like Silent Hill is like being in what actually looks like an abandoned apartment. Like that's the kind of stuff we want to see. And it's cool whenever we get shots like, okay, hey, there's that boss that we fight in Silent Hill, except, that's not really a boss battle. They just kind of show up, fuck off, and then that's it. So
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's it. I mean, Pyramid Head even only shows up a couple fucking times in the movie. Like for as big of a thing that Pyramid Head is, and how much he represents the franchise, and how much they wanted to shoehorn him into the first film, he's barely fucking in this movie.
Just barely, And they have one little callback to that infamous mannequin scene. That's kind of,
but it's
different. They changed that up.
They change it up. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say they don't even make it very sexual this time around.
Well, there's been some heated debate about that, and I think according to Ito, that scene was actually never meant to be sexual. That was kind of a misunderstanding of the scene, but that's why Silent Hill 2 is important to keep vague and not spell things out. You want to lean into something, do it subtly.
Exactly.
That pays homage to some of the fan theories. And I think that's why Silent Hill 2 works so well, is because it's so ambiguous. And even the remake managed to keep it ambiguous. And that's why it's such a good interpretation of that story. But this movie, it's not subtle at all. It really shoves things down your face and tries to give you things multiple times. It's like, do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it?
Exactly. It's like you see what this is meant to symbolize, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's just like, let people like come to that on their own, because that's part of what makes that story so effective, is that you have to sit there and think about it and piece things together.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. It just it feels like such a disservice to do a story that is honestly one of the richest in survival horror history and just completely shit on it.
I would say one of the most important stories in the survival horror, period.
Yeah.
Like maybe up there with like Resident Evil 2's story, or like the story of the first couple of Clock Tower games, Yeah. It's like, that was top tier, and this is just a bad distillation of all of that.
You know what? Maybe we just don't need a recreation of any particular Silent Hill story. Maybe, Christophe Gans should just go in kind of the direction he was already going with the first movie, and just do an original story. I feel like that's, if the Silent Hill franchise has a future in live action or animated or whatever, in TV or series form, I think it just needs to be an original story set in the universe. Maybe something that could actually fit in with the timeline of the games.
That's Silent Hill F right there, pretty much.
Exactly.
Something like that.
That's all you have to do is do something like Silent Hill F. You can do a movie or series that's not even set in Silent Hill, the town, or anywhere within its history. A TV series that was kind of like an anthology series would actually be the ideal way to do this.
Yes.
I would do an anthology TV series where like every season is just like a different story. Like do like a whole American Horror Story thing with it. That's what Silent Hill needs.
Yeah, it needs that kind of deep dive with multiple seasons, with different characters and
different things.
Exactly.
In the town of Silent Hill or in other places around the world.
All right, now there's one more question I want to make before we finish. I mean, I don't know if it's spoilery, so cut it out if necessary, but Did this movie need a cult?
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. 'Cause
Yeah, I mean,
it's hard to really talk about any of the problems of this film without at least giving some of the stuff, and this stuff is fed in kind of early on. The cult, okay. Why did this film need a cult? I know that cults are important to Silent Hill and then that they play a part in some of those games, but they are not in Silent Hill 2. There's no cult storyline in Silent Hill 2, and I was kind of alluding to it earlier, but they add this cult plot line to the backstory, and it doesn't serve the narrative. It just feels like padding.
Exactly, and it seemed like it was just there to kind of justify the more supernatural elements of the story, but it's like it never needed that.
No,
not once at all.
Yeah. I mean, and if you're going to do the cult storyline, then I don't know, at least take it in an interesting direction and do like the rebirth ending or something.
Yeah, exactly. At least do something like that and kind of go all in, like with some of the other changes. If you're going to go and do some really batshit insane things with this storyline, go all in on it.
Go all in on
Yeah.
it. But it's like, you want to try to kind of faithfully tell the story and follow the same beats and go to the same locations and have the same characters kind of come and fuck off, and then even adapt one of the endings, and then but then do away and change so much and do other things. I just don't get it. And also my final complaint is that this movie should have had the dog ending as a post-credit scene.
Absolutely. Why didn't we get a dog ending or even a UFO ending, man?
For the post-credit scene.
For the post-credit, that would have been perfect. It would have been amazing. It's like James and Mary could have just come up on a door, open it up, and it's just the dog controlling everything. And then it's just like, just mind fucked.
Yeah.
It would have been perfect.
That's all they had to do.
Exactly. That's all they had to do, man.
And I actually, honestly, if they had done that and I saw that in the post-credit scene, I would have immediately liked the movie. I would have just excused everything else.
Immediate 10 out of 10 if they would have done that.
Yeah.
Immediate.
But no, they didn't.
God damn it.
So, yeah, I guess there's not a whole lot more we can talk about without spoiling the movie in entirety. Bo, what are your final thoughts on Return to Silent Hill?
Fine atmosphere. I mean, the directing in and of itself wasn't bad. I liked some of the camera work here. Like the title, the title sequence was pretty interesting.
The title shot was cool.
Yeah, that was
I pointed
cool.
that out when we were watching it. I was like, yeah, I like how they did that. That's cool.
Exactly. But it's like we said, there's just too many changes to this already kind of sacred gaming storyline that, I just don't know if I could really 100% recommend this. It's like, it made me check out so many times. I was just like, nah. I almost just rather be watching the original Christophe Gans movie from the 2000s. It's like, I'm going to say pass on this. It's just not really worth it.
Yeah. I'm going to say, if you're a fan of Silent Hill 2 and or its remake, it's worth checking out. But prepare for disappointment. But if you've never experienced that story, then no, fuck no. Don't accept this movie as the first thing that you watch to experience the story. Just pass on this. If you're like a horror fan and you don't know anything about Silent Hill, no, dude, no. Here's what you need to go do. Go watch a YouTube playthrough of Silent Hill 2 remake. That's all you need. Just do that, or watch just the cutscenes from the game. That's honestly the perfect cinematic way to view this story. Is just the Silent Hill 2 remake, or go play it if you were a gamer. Otherwise, yeah, pass on this. This is just not a good experience. It's just absolutely a letdown in terms of an adaptation. Barely passable as a horror film. It doesn't do anything new or interesting that we haven't seen before. The first Silent Hill movie, yeah, I recommend it. I still haven't seen Revelations, so I can't speak on that, but I like the first one, and this one was just, yeah. It's only worth checking out if you're a huge fan of the game and you kind of want to see what they changed, just so you can be angry at it. But
yeah,
but it's bad, and it's not even bad in a way that's entertaining. It's just disappointing.
Very much so. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pass on Return to Silent Hill for most people. But Yeah, as far as what's coming up on Collateral Gaming, we should have out by now our year in review episode, so go check that out. And very soon we'll be getting into our February content that includes Night Trap and Vandal Hearts. And Bo, you recommended both of those, so I'm excited to get into those with you.
Yep, some very important games right there, and especially Night Trap. Very important game for in the context of modern gaming, especially.
Yeah, and I've never played them before, so I'll be playing those here very soon. And maybe some bonus round content. I've got a couple ideas, and I'd love to have something out soon. Also, check out Collateral Let's Play on YouTube. Here very soon, we should have out a new episode of Phoenix Wright Wednesday, if not already. And also, we'll do more Shooter Saturdays and Metroid Mondays. I know for Shooter Saturday, I have Doom 2 planned, and for Metroid Monday, we'll be continuing Zero Mission, and maybe some new Let's Plays out as well. Other things, if I get time to do them, or if I just start picking up a game, I should probably record myself doing it. But Bo, what's coming up next on Collateral Cinema?
Well, as of this recording, we have our Boruto Naruto the movie episode out. We're going to have our year in review episode out here very soon as well, so look for that.
It should be out by this point.
Yeah, by this point, it should be out. And we will be getting into the Lord of the Rings trilogy here very soon. The first episode, we're going to talk about Fellowship and the Two Towers, and then we're going to do the second part, which is going to be Return of the King, and we're going to have Jim from Film Rage join us on that one. So, we're really looking forward to getting through our February content as well.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And if you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon, and we do have a Buy Me a Coffee, and we do have merch on our store on Dashery
as well. And we are proud to announce that we have become partners with Dubby Energy. So use our promo code CCinemaPodcast on their website to get 10% off of your first purchase. So go to their website and check them out.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, very soon here on Collateral Gaming, I think we'll try to get that set up as well and see if we can be sponsored. But yeah, you can check out either of our podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, and you can also help us rise up the ranks on Good Pods. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or feedback on your platform of choice. And we're on social media, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're on TikTok as well. We haven't really posted there or anything, but we're there.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I guess that's it. Anything else to add, Bo?
Just pass on Return to Silent Hill. Pass on this movie. just no.
Yeah, definitely. Well, with all that being said, I've been James Sunderland is literally me, Ashley Chancellor.
And I'm the Abstract Daddy, and no, don't get into the implications of that at all.
This was Collateral Cinema and Collateral Gaming. We are out.
Yeah, stand with Minnesota. Fuck ICE.
Collateral Cinema is a Collateral Media podcast. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.